Hey everyone and welcome. Well, one thing Elon Musk is doing around the world, and especially here, is he's revealing the scumbags that are coming out in the droves to show their true colours. Here's one of them. Look at this slimy creep. This guy was on Piers Morgan as the presenter. His name's Jack Symes. Look at that smug little face. Wait until you hear what he says.
And I do believe that we have rotten politics, and I'm not using that as an exaggeration.
But before we go into it, let's just have a look at who he is. He's a public philosopher, which basically means he thinks he's smart, but isn't. And he works for the BBC. Yes, you heard that right. He works for the BBC as a new generation thinker. Now, this guy, obviously, went to university, came out of university with a shitty degree in religious studies, and thinks that makes him the moral authority on everything. Have a listen to what this prick has to say, and the amazing response by Natalie Winters. Have a listen.
And the real risk you have in the US isn't multiculturalism. It's a multi-billionaire running the biggest social media planet, one of the biggest in the world, which has turned into an echo chamber of your ridiculous ideology. And the fact that you're telling us all and telling the British public, who we're proudly multicultural, as someone that...
Are we proudly multicultural, everyone? Are we proudly multicultural? Or is a little elite clique proudly multicultural? I bet he's got no friends that come from the working class. I bet he's got no life lessons learned. I bet he lives in nice little gated communities of all people that look like him, and it gives him the moral ability to judge others that aren't in his position. Look at the face she's just pulled. She's thinking, are you really saying that a billionaire's words are more important than rape of children? Are you? Are you? Yeah, love. Yeah, he is. Disgusting cretin that he is. Let's continue.
Was brought up in multicultural working class Birmingham. I can tell you for sure that there's not you won't find a Muslim there who's read the Quran and went, oh, you know what, it didn't rule out sexual violence, so...
Let's just cut in there. Does anyone know any working class people that work for the BBC? Any? Does anyone know any working class people that have been to religious studies in a well-paid university? Are any working class being invited on Piers Morgan as presenters? Let's just put that out there.
I might just crack on with that. I don't know what planet you're living on or what you're smoking, but I'd suggest that you do a course in religious studies before you start chatting.
Well, thank you for the ad hominem attack.
So there you go. I did a course, don't you know? That makes me 10 times smarter than you, even though I don't know your background. I'm just smarter because I went to university. Does anyone actually believe that that's true anymore, that going to university makes you smarter? No, it doesn't. It makes you a little bit intelligent in one very, very, very minute, blinkered pathway. Everything else, the free thinking side of it, gone. But you carry on, crack on with your I'm educated and you're not, therefore we shouldn't listen to your opinions, we should just listen to mine.
Well, thank you for the ad hominem attacks. I'm sure that means you have a really strong argument, but I think the young working class girls who probably grew up in the same areas that you did would beg to differ.
Boom. Yes, they would beg to differ, but he doesn't care because he's a fella. He's never had to worry about walking through the streets of Birmingham as a single woman or as a child, has he? You piece of shit. Now, obviously, she responded quite well there. Had the hominin attacks are just basically saying that your arguments don't stand up against other arguments. So your ideas are not good ideas, because if they were, they'd beat the other ideas, wouldn't they? Without having to use ad hominem personal attacks.
I don't understand what you're saying. I've read the Quran. I've seen what's in there. Even if you don't think that my interpretation of the Quran is correct, I would point you to, I don't know, what countries have the most issues when it comes to child brides and raping of young girls and children. It's obviously a systemic cultural problem with Islam. It's not a problem that is contained or unique to the West. And I don't know, last time I checked, this whole grooming gang phenomenon is what contained primarily to Muslim men, and it really only started when you started seeing mass migration.
She nailed it, didn't she? She nailed it. Look at his face at the end. He's thinking, shit, she's come with facts. Well, how am I going to get her now? I know, I'll call her name. Now, obviously, she's read the Quran. I've read the Quran. He's been to the university and been told about the Quran. I bet he's never read the Hadith, though, has he? I bet he's never read the Hadith. So I thought we'd find someone that will explain it a little bit better and why it is a cultural problem and it is a problem that we should not be having in our nations. This was in New York, and this was an imam explaining that it's fine to be a paedophile. Have a listen to this.
Okay, so what's the proper counter-argument to these people who want to accuse the Prophet ﷺ of some kind of misbehavior because of his marriage to Aisha radiallahu anha, and they want to compare it to animal? Okay. So there are a number of responses to this. Number one, Aisha radiallahu anha was mature. She was physically mature.
Thought I'd pause it there. She was physically mature at 9. Now, obviously, things like this happened a long time ago, but this isn't what we're talking about. This is the mentality of today. Let's have a listen.
At age 9, and that's very different than people who want to molest little kids in the closet. Like, that's not the same as marriage.
Yeah, it is very different. We have actually seen it where you want to pass little kids round like sexual meat slaves, isn't it? That's the difference. Let's continue.
Someone who is physically mature. As soon as a girl is going through maturation and her physical body is changing, then she is ready for that type of relationship of marriage. And that's when every society encourage and sanction marriage. So you can look at the records, the average age of marriage in Roman society.
This is where he goes into historical paedophilia. Things that no longer happen because we've matured as a civilization. They obviously haven't, and they justify it by using stuff that doesn't happen anymore to prove that it should for them.
It was 12 or 13. You can look at Chinese society. You can look at any kind of African society. It's all around that age. These kids, what are they doing now? These children, or these minors, these girls, they're going through puberty at age 9. They're getting a boyfriend. They're engaging in all kinds of sexual behaviors at their schools.
So it's fine for 50-year-old men to line up to do despicable things to children. It's fine for that because children are exploring sexuality at 9, 13 and 12. So therefore, we should be allowed to explore their sexuality as well. Disgusting people, this. This is just disgusting on a next level, isn't it? Paedophilia has no excuses. I don't care if you've been doing it for millennia. I do not give a shit. You're a paedophile.
With their teachers or whatever, in zina. This is a myth. Again, an image that's, oh, a 9-year-old is like a little toddler. No, a
9-year-old is a child, you cretin.
9-year-old who has gone through puberty is not a toddler. And you can go to the public schools and they're sexually active. And this is the reality of the modern West, because they've abolished this idea of minor marriage. They've abolished this idea that when you are puberty, your body is mature. Your body has certain desires, and those desires are fulfilled through marriage.
Does anyone go to a primary school that's not these people? Does anyone go to a primary school and think, yep, she's sexually mature, oh, she's ready and ripe for the taking? No, we don't. And there's a reason for that. It's because we're not morally defunct scumbags. We figured out long ago that it's disgusting. Seems to be these people and their entire religion. She was right, the girl before. There's a problem. There's a major problem. And this is it. In their own words. Let me know what you think, though. I'd like to know your opinion. I'll see you on the next one. And that smug git needs to go back to his shitty school and learn more. It didn't teach him anything about Islam. There you have it as well, everyone. He thinks multiculturalism is far more important than little children. I bet he'd feel differently if it was his sister or, I don't know, his niece, something like that. It's always fine when it's other people's, isn't it? It's always fine. It's the multicultural experiment that we've got to protect, not your children.
UK's fucked up and there's no one coming over to save me. Elon Musk is trying to beat with his Star Wars crazy. All that we want is our borders closed, but all that we got is you endless and close. If I speak my mind, then I am far right. I guess I better pack my bags, cause I'm fucking up over the opponent. Where the streets are safe and you're not here to lock me up in jail over a comment I put on Facebook.
Stay sane, everyone.